a friend of mine, he reached out to me. He said, "Hey, I got this idea, and you're good with money. I want you to, be the CFO of our company."
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, "Sure, whatever." And we ended up going to the SBDC. They were very helpful. They had a lot of resources. I think our biggest concern at that time was knowing how to put the right team together, and we ended up doing that. We ended up doing an event for the SCU football team for homecoming, and it was big, it was great. But then things happened. It failed.
Yeah.
Everyone went their separate ways. We all still talk every once in a while, but that was my first encounter, which is my freshman year, and then that situation is what helped me say, you know what, I'm not gonna do engineering no more because that's what I was doing at the time, and I'm gonna go straight into business because I saw how if you could provide a service
Uh-huh.
that benefits people, you know what I'm saying, there's value in that.
Yeah.
And the more value you add, the more impact you make, the more opportunities there is for myself as an entrepreneur to, go out and do some good in the world.
Yeah. Well, and it's nice to get failures in early.
Yeah. I failed a lot of times, like a lot, but it builds character.
Yeah.
It really does.
And that is hopefully something we're going to do in this episode of the WTF Carbondale podcast. We're going to build a little character talking to Marshon Tucker, episode 52 of the WTF Carbondale podcast, where we talk to interesting people about their interesting lives and tie it all back together to this little old place we call home, Carbondale, Illinois. And I always like talking to folks that I've never met before, and starting fresh with exploratory conversation. But I've never really engaged with somebody and they've been like, oh, I'm a fan. Like, I've watched the podcast. I like it. And then I don't even remember how that Facebook message went. I think you were just like, hey man, the podcast. I was like, you want to be a guest? Like, I can guess. And then turns out you were a great guest to be on here because you're somebody that's interesting and doing stuff in town.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you being here and putting in work, man. So how, the big starter question is, with these podcasts is, how did you come to be in Carbondale? What brought you here?
So I had an older cousin here, Kevin. He was going for aviation. And he was like, man, you graduating high school. You need to come down here. We have a great time. You learn some stuff. And then you go off into the world and you do whatever you want to do. So I'm like, you know what? Sure. I applied, got accepted, and that's how I got here. It was one of the best decisions I've made thus far.
Awesome,
man. For real.
No, that's good. Mm-hmm. That's good. And even after college, and still being able to say that.
Yeah. And I'm actually still in college right now. I'm in the Master of Health Administration and Health Informatics program here at SIU. So I graduated in May with my first master's, and then I have one more year, and then I graduate my second master's. So,
dude, it's wild to me that it's like a master's feels like a bachelor's used to now. You just got to go get it, right? And I feel silly for having not, for first taking too long to get through college myself, the BS, but then not figuring out, okay, well, when is a master's program, right? So did you go right out of your bachelor's and into the master's program then?
Yep. That wasn't the plan at first, but
it never is, right?
Yeah, it never is. I was like, man, I'm done. I got my bachelor's. I'm gone. I'm going to start my business. If I make it, I make it. If I don't, well, I just go, work at another company.
Yeah.
But opportunity came my way. There was a situation that happened on campus. At the time, the assistant dean at the College of Business, she had asked me a question, and I helped her solve a big issue. Right? And then she was like, you're really good at problem solving, and you can speak well. And she was just telling me all this great stuff. She was like, well, have you ever thought about going to grad school? And I was like, now this was 2 weeks before I graduated. And I'm like, no, I'm not going. And then she was like, well, what if I was to offer you a graduate assistantship? And me not thinking about grad school at all, I don't even know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, well, let me contact my mom real quick. Let me talk to her. I don't want to make a decision like this and not seek counsel. So I got up, walked outside, called my mom, talked to her for, I promise you, 30 seconds. She was like, boy, you better take that. So went back in, applied, got into grad school, and that's how I got into the program.
That's phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
I mean, just somebody identified your skill set and your value within the program, and we're just like, hey, stick around a little bit.
Yeah.
2 masters.
2.
So what? So explain. Can you explain just like side by side what they are and kind of how they come together for what you want to do?
Yeah. So well, wait. Let me tell you.
Go where you want to go.
I want to start my bachelor's first, then I get to my master's.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah,
I got a bachelor of science. I got a bachelor of science in business management at SIU, of course. And then, because I always had that entrepreneurial spirit, I always wanted to create something. You know what I'm saying? Bring value and change something for the better. And then my grandmother and my mother, they've been in healthcare. My grandma was in healthcare for 40 plus years. My mom she's doing her thing now. And I was like, maybe I should go into healthcare. Like my entire family's there. Then I noticed how the past couple of years we've been focused on healthcare in the United States.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, maybe I'll just do that. I'll go into healthcare because there's job opportunity just in case.
Yeah.
If whether my business ventures work or not, I still have my degrees to fall back on, and I can still go that route if I need to.
Yep.
And then as I got into the MHA program here at SIU, I was like, man, they're teaching me stuff that I never even knew about. Now, for some that may not know, business and health go hand in hand. Like they work closely together. So with the MHA program, they teach you more administrative work. You at the top. How can we bring, once again, more value to people?
Yeah.
And how do we make it more economical? So and access as well, making it accessible to people. Just like in rural towns and rural communities, you guys, well, not you guys, but having access to proper care.
Man, being here since 2013, you're near a townie at this point.
Yeah. I'm here. Yeah, I am. I'm not even gonna fight it no more. I was like, you know what? But
where'd you? Where are you from originally?
Chicago.
Chicago. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, Chicago.
Hey, dude,
Chicago.
this is people miss just a fraction of activity coming out of Chicago benefiting the town here in Carbondale and all over this state, right? It's like we've got the 3rd largest city in the United States. Like we take that so much for granted, and like how positive an impact that has on the rest of the state. Like
even when I was back home and I was telling everyone I was coming down to SIU, they knew what it was. Yeah. They've been here before. Yeah. They started telling me stories. I went to church. They're telling me stories back from the 50s. I'm like, but they told me like, it's when you're talking about community, a sense of community, like it's here. We have that. They have that down there. And they knew that, once I get down to SIU, I was going to do great things and I was going to meet great people. And they were right. And my first week on campus, like it was pure silence. Now, I'm from Chicago, from the inner city, South Side. It's a lot of noise. It's a lot of everything. Yeah. But when I got down to Carbondale, it helped me, focus more on the things that I wanted to focus on without any distractions. Yeah. So, Carbondale has its perks.
Man, it's not as quiet as it used to be. I don't know where all this I say I don't know. This ties directly into your work. I do have a pretty good idea where that helicopter activity is coming from. Is that we have now established a level 1 trauma center. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I would have to double check with anybody at SIH who would actually know better, but I'm pretty sure we're a level 1 trauma center now. Yeah. Part of that is having your brother's in aviation, was an aviation or is a pilot or wherever he's at now, spreading his wings, right? That we've now got a medevac, aerovac station out at the airport, right? So our ability to actually like transport people at a next level of trauma, like you're talking about, being able to provide value to people, right? It's made a little bit noisier in the sky at night sometimes. But
yeah. Yeah, I was the day the SAU like went, public with, hey, we have a trauma center. Like I was there at that celebration.
uh-huh.
Now I wasn't like invited there. I worked for a company that was catering for
Nice.
that event. And I was able to meet a couple people that were there, and they were saying how big it was. And it actually is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because they was giving us different examples of how people who had incidents that needed to get help at that moment,
Mm-hmm.
they had to fly out to St. Louis or wherever it is, that's far away, and that was too far. So having that new trauma center here, it's right up the street, it's nice. It helps people. I know they probably saved a bunch of lives already. So it's really good.
No,
It's really
no, I
good.
mean, it's for all of the, and we do have an abundance of issues with healthcare in this country. Like we're lucky, I think, just as a region to have, I don't know, just being rural, but being a developed rural community,
Yeah.
having immediate access to a large city like St. Louis, for really important stuff. I just it's cool that all comes together, and that it makes sense to have here, and that obviously the med school and all those components to it. I mean, that's another big value add from just being able to service folks.
Yep. I agree.
So Bachelor of Science,
Yep.
you connect that into the Master of Healthcare Administration. Is it two different masters within healthcare administration, or do you have what is the other one? And if I missed it, I'm sorry.
Oh no. The second one is health informatics. It's just how you analyze health data to make people's lives better. To sum it up, yeah. So that's the last part of my master's, and I'll hop more into that in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
So if we do another interview, I'll tell you more about it.
There you go. There you go. when you're like when I'm at the next level, you'll be the first to know. Has math always been a thing too for you? Like, are you statistics and numbers and whatever else all come together well for you, or
It does, but I'm not the best.
Yeah.
Because if I was, I would stay to engineering. I'm that. But to tell you the truth, I'm fairly decent in it.
yeah,
But like when it comes down to business and different products, like don't get me wrong, statistics and math is huge in business.
yeah,
But am I like the best? No, but I can, if I got a problem, I need to, do something. I can do it. I can.
you're a communicator and a relationship person.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And somewhat of a numbers guy.
There you
know, some.
How it puts together. So how do the numbers work out for the project that you're working on now? Then, like, what does that look like in terms of just what you want to deliver, and what success looks like behind it when you're starting from as very square one as you can possibly get?
If you're in grad school and you're taking out student loans, you get a refund check. So I'm like, okay, well, I can go ahead and instead of taking this refund check and paying off the rest of my year, my school year's rent, or taking the money and going to buy clothes, shoes, or stuff that will not have any value in the future. How about I take this money, invest into a company, build it out, and proceed forward. So that's what I decided to do. So yeah, that's it.
That's heavy, man.
Yeah.
Like I know what it's like to fill up a credit card with debt for a project or do something else. I mean, it's the same thing,
Yeah.
right? And it's terrifying every time because you know what you're on the hook for.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And I will also take a small percentage and then put it in I trade currencies on the foreign exchange market.
Mm-hmm.
So I just do my buying and selling the currencies, make a profit here, bring the money home, put into the company. It's built when you're building a company from the ground up. Sometimes you're gonna have some unexpected expenses, and if you don't have the money to pay it, well, your company may die.
Mm-hmm.
So I was already going into student loan debt, and I'm just like, man, I need more money.
Yeah.
I need more funds. So, I had to get a little creative, and sometimes that means waking up at 5:30 in the morning. Waking up to trade before class. Then I'm at class, then I leave class and go um, to work on campus for my GA position.
Uh-huh.
And then I get off, then I go home and study. Then once I'm done studying or doing my homework, now I'm back at Swift doing work there. Next thing you know, it's like 2 in the morning, go to bed, wake up at 5:30 again, do it all over. So it's you got to be really dedicated.
Yeah.
If you want to start something, it's like a baby. Like this is my baby.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure that it gets where it need to go on to the next level.
Oh, I mean, and that's it, man. That's the mindset that you've got to have
Yeah.
behind anything when you're putting in the work in from square one and figuring out what is this, how does it all come together? Like it's just having that craving to do more with the resources that are in front of you.
Yeah.
And it's good, man. I'm glad you got the heart and the stomach for it, and it doesn't scare you off the first go around on it.
Oh no.
I mean, and once you're bit by it, it's like you either do or you don't, right? It's like you're either going to keep pursuing and being entrepreneurial and like trying to find ways to have some sort of a positive influence over folks and make a little money along the way. Like it's a very real thing.
Yeah.
It's a very real feeling. Worth chasing.
Mm-hmm. It's been fun. It's going really well. Like it's going way better than I thought.
Yeah.
But from my first venture that I did with my friends, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Like that was like my roadmap. You have a product, you have an idea, cool. Now you figure out, okay, well, what problem can you solve?
Mm-hmm.
Once you find a solution, now, okay, how can you sell that to whomever that you want to sell it to?
Yeah.
You gotta have that. You gotta have that process. So it's been challenging, but it's been rewarding at the same time because as I'm working my way up, building my brand, my presence, and everything, people are now able to start to see more of the scooter, and I have other products as well that I want to bring out and release, but you only can do it in certain stages.
So what are you wanting to do? What are you trying to deliver to folks? What's kind of the core idea behind what you're working on?
Yeah, so it's all about increasing transportation.
Mm-hmm.
As we know, in many rural towns across America, transportation is one of the biggest hurdles that some people have to cross or jump over if they don't have means to a car.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes even when you have a means to a car, that necessarily doesn't mean that that's the best transportation for the specific area that you're going to.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can drive a car on campus, but you can't bob and weave through the campus to get to a certain building.
I mean, depends on how you drive the car, man. But that's
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right. But my end goal is to I was that student, especially in my undergraduate years, I didn't have a car.
Mm-hmm.
So when those days if I need to go to Walmart, if I need to go to Walgreens, or if I was trying to get to a friend's house and I didn't have a car, I would have to walk.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're, in Carbondale, you know how long, those walks can be.
Yeah.
And so think about even when you go into class on campus, if you stay in the dorms, right? And you have to go from the dorms to on campus, you got books in your backpack, you know what I'm saying? Like the life of being like a college student, like it's very complex in its way. Because you're not just going to class, but you might be going to an RSO meeting, or you might be, you might be doing some type of anything. But, like hopefully with Swift, it'd be easy for people to go from one place to another.
So what is is it like the traditional scan and go scooter stuff, or have you have a deeper, mechanism within this for folks that is seeking to deliver on a convenience or to actually get more people able and using. You didn't say e-transportation. There was a very particular phrase you used earlier before we started the podcast. I can't remember what it was now.
Micromobility.
Micromobility. Thank you.
Yeah. Micromobility. It refers to lightweight vehicles that travel under 25 kilometers. Mm-hmm. So vehicles like scooters, bikes, mopeds, those are devices that can be used to travel short distance. Mm-hmm. And the way that micromobility came about was to solve transportation issues from home to the bus, and then from the bus to your next destination.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's the first mile, last mile problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm trying to solve. You know, I'm not trying to say, hey, stop driving cars.
Mm-hmm.
Stop taking the bus. Like, drive Swift. Like, no, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to make a way where people have other options to use.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, Carbondale is growing. And when it comes down to transportation, you want people to stay in the city. Like, people have to be able to get from place to place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I hope that, you know, we can fill that void.
Well, and it's interesting, you know, again, another thing that we were talking about before the start of the podcast was, you know, I had just read a couple days ago a brief article about a new Swedish manufactured e-bike that hits 37 or 40 miles an hour, something to that effect. And that is, by European standards, not allowed for commuting in the EU territories. So they have all the infrastructure for micro-mobility, even if micro-mobility is going a little bit faster than in that case with 37 miles an hour. But the and they have all the infrastructure, but none of the fun, you know, acceptance of, you know, allowing these vehicles go faster and faster on the infrastructure that's in place for them. Yeah. Whereas in America, we don't have any of the infrastructure for it, but we're just kind of the Wild West on, hey, that's an electric scooter or e-bike or whatever else.
Yeah.
It can go 50 miles an hour. Let it rip, man.
Yeah. So what a lot of cities worry about is safety. And I'm big on safety. Like, well, you had said, how do people access it? They'll use it. They'll go through an app. I'm going to answer that first. They'll end up going through our Swift app, and then, you know, scan it. Boom. That's how you go.
There you go.
You know, but to actually, when you're talking about safety, like I can control the mileage on here. So let's say if SAU, let's say if Carbondale say, hey, Marshon, go ahead, we do a pilot program, and, you know, put your scooters out there, put your bikes, put all your other devices out there, and let's see what happens, right? Well, I'm not gonna let students or, you know, anybody ride a scooter and let it go down 40 miles per hour down the street. I'm just not gonna let that happen at all, because that's liability. Yeah, if someone gets hurt, who's liable? Yeah, you know. So you can control the miles per hour, and typically when you're going like, you know, 10 to 11 miles per hour, that's appropriate.
Yeah, that's pretty fast. Like,
right.
People don't realize until they're on it and going. Yeah.
Like, well, people really don't realize until they fall. When you fall, you say, man, I was going really, really, this is crazy. Like, you'll feel the wind in your face and everything. But the average bike goes between 13 to 15 miles per hour. And that's pretty fast on a bike. Yeah. So think about going on a scooter. So it's certain, like on the back end, we can control every device that we have, and we can control the speed. So it's going to be certain areas around the town and on campus where you can go a certain miles per hour.
Where all give a shout out for all your details on this, real quick too. All the stuff you text me.
Yeah. Okay, so you could follow us like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram at Swift, SWIPH. Instagram is SwiftCo, because I couldn't get the regular Swift. Somebody took it. So it's at SWIPHCO. You can reach us on our website at www.swift.co, www.swift.co. Hit enter. You'll find us.
You know how to sell it, man. It's good. I dig it. That's the business part of doing business, right?
Yeah, I know, right? And if you want to shoot us an email, you can reach me personally, Marshon, Marshon, at swift.co.
Nice. So, like, then how did you get into that entrepreneurial mindset? Was it something that you picked up coming into college, like with your first endeavor there, or was it something that you've had from a younger age?
I always had it in me, you know, because of my mom. She always had, like, she was an entrepreneur. She worked 2 jobs. She did hair on the side. So I pretty much got it from her. Yeah. And it just built out from there. Like, it just, like, once I realized that, hey, you can do something, provide a service, and then get paid for it,
Yeah.
and then just repeat that process over and over again.
Yeah.
Like I was like, yeah, I got to do that.
Well, and I mean, just seeing, well, what can you achieve if you're setting your mind to, like,
Yep.
I'm going to make sure that I'm not just relying on a single
Yeah.
activity to keep me propped up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to, I can work a day job. I can pursue a business on the side. I
Yep.
can do a little bit of trading here
Yep.
or there to, like, I mean, that's a one of those ways that, like, just keep going. Just a little bit more hustle gets you
Yep.
a lot of bit farther
Yep.
in the long term of things.
Yep. And
for
today's world, having one source of income, man, that's like, man, that's it. I mean, it depends on how much you make, but the average American, that's not enough.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to have some type of other income coming in. So it's always good to make investments. Like if you're gonna go take a check, pay your bills, put some away for savings, and then you have some money to play with. I highly recommend that you make those investments, whether if it's real estate, whether if it's stocks, whether if it's peer-to-peer lending, like stuff like that is what's going to help, one, keep our economy booming and going. That's number one. Two, in return, you'll get interest on your initial principal that you put into that investment. And it's best to spend that interest versus spending what's coming in from your check.
Yeah.
Because if you spend everything, if you get your check, pay your bills, put away in savings, and you spend the rest, well, now you basically living check to check now. So it's always good to have multiple sources of income, because nowadays, like, it's needed. Like, you have to have some other income coming in, because look what happened during the pandemic. Like, millions of people lost their jobs.
Yeah.
And once that job was gone, where was your income coming in from?
Were you still doing any sort of catering or any other activity in
No.
the service world that got knocked down when pandemic hit?
Well, no, I wasn't.
All right, cool.
When the pandemic, I was good.
Good.
I was still under contract with the university.
Oh, thank God.
So they did a really good job with making sure that their students were taken care of. Like, I mean, I know I'm under contract. We're under contract and stuff,
Yeah.
but like they could have been like, oh, we can't because of. They could have made up some type of excuse.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They took care of what they could do, and I respect them for that one, because like GAs, we don't get paid a lot, and like the cost of living is super high for college students, especially when you only have one job. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
No, I mean, dude, that's cost of living is the amount that you got to spend on rent and all of the other ancillary bills that go with just having shelter. It's not the same as what it was 20, 30 years ago, right? Like it's never been great, but it wasn't like, rent's going to take up the majority of your income. Good luck. Like that's where all that additional hustle has to come from. Like, and it sucks that it's one thing to, for the folks that like it and enjoy it, right? But for everybody to feel like they've got to be going, whether it's, working all day and then doing Uber at night or something like that, or having a weekend job or something to that effect. I mean, it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a bummer that that those who may not want to hustle so hard have to just to get by.
Exactly. And so now, let's just say of 2017, 2018, right?
Yeah.
Life was good. Everything was going smooth, everyday life. And then let's say if you was putting money away, you had other investments coming, you had other income coming in, right? Let's say if you're investing in real estate, okay? And so every month you'll get about $600 a month coming in, right? And then the pandemic happened, you lose your job. Well, at least you got $600 coming in every month.
Yeah.
That's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So it's you always got to prepare for the worst. Definitely. So like for myself, like once I graduate, like I put money away in savings. Like I have money that's just sitting.
Yeah.
Just put it away, because you want your money to save you, especially on those rainy days.
No.
For real.
No. And I mean, man, it just you sound like you've got opportunities to do
Yeah.
and go the directions that you want to go with stuff, man. I mean, I'm sure that coming out of the gate with just a little bit of a better understanding of what it takes to manage yourself and a project on the back end, that healthcare systems are going to look at you and go, oh yeah, this is look at all these things that come together, the actual the administrative side and the statistical side and the business side and all this. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's get you into administration. So
Yeah.
and then it's just more cash flow from there.
Yeah, and I do definitely because a lot of people say, "Well, you started a scooter company, but you're in healthcare. How does that correlate? How's that?" And I'm just like, "Well, you got to remember, I wanted to be an entrepreneur since day one. So, and I'm gonna use once this grows, then I'm gonna take the funds of that and then invest it into preventative care. I want to go more into that area. Let's prevent people from getting sick in the first place, because I feel like there are individuals out there who spend more money to keep us sick. They damage our foods that we get from, major chain grocery stores and stuff like that. So I'm like, man, I want to go into preventative care where I can help people prevent them from getting sick in the first place, which one, it expands their lifespan from there.
Yeah.
And then two, it's like, okay, we give you guidance on, all right, what you should do now, what you should do in the next 5 years, 10 years, like set up different type of goal plans. So it's still something that I'm learning about. But once this takes off and everything, I'm going straight into that.
Have you always been kind of into the healthy, like, I got to eat right, I got to live right, like this is taking care of myself isn't just about seeing the doctor, but like there's this whole sphere of care of a person that kind of builds you or the people around you, however you want to look at it, right?
Yeah.
But is that kind of holistic approach to taking care of oneself something that that you've recently developed, or kind of have always had a little bit of an eye on?
Well, I was always into sports
Nice.
before I came to college. And so I was always up to eating healthy, treating your body right, because you only get one body.
Yeah.
And then I got to college, and I got the freshman 15, and everything went out the window. But I still do my daily exercising every day, work out every day. So, but and I eat healthy suddenly. I try to.
Yeah.
But
Best you can.
but it's I think it's important for those to be able to take care of their bodies and eat the proper foods.
Yeah.
Like that will determine your whole day. Like make sure you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the right proportions, and make sure that your body is getting the right intake of water and vitamins and everything. That will definitely help you throughout your day. But if you don't take care of your body, you're gonna be sluggish, you're gonna be drowsy, you're just not gonna have any ambition, no drive.
Yeah.
But eating healthy, exercising, that stuff is key.
Well, and that's the intersection of that preventative care activity that you're talking about. I mean, just from a layman's perspective, it's like, well, where does it start? It starts in how you treat yourself. And I'm not one that can talk too well about that.
No.
I'm a pretty even for a vegetarian, like I'm like a garbage eating vegetarian. Like that's just me, what I do. Somehow I still manage to do just fine off of like French fries and cheese sticks and stuff.
You're a vegetarian?
But, yeah.
Yo, you gotta teach me your ways, man.
Dude, it's there's not ways to it. It's just poor dieting, only without the hamburger.
Oh.
that's all it is, man. I will say that the plant-based meat trends has made it much more manageable. Like chicken nuggets and chicken patties.
Yeah.
Like plant-based stuff, way like it's just as similar to real chicken as an actual chicken nugget or a chicken patty.
Yeah.
So that kind of works out okay.
Yeah.
So that's trick number one, is the fake meat stuff right now. It's not bad. Chongos, great example of Chongos. Like I can go to Chongos and eat just as good on a giant plate of nachos with a bunch of beans and rice, and tofu and some of the grilled veggie selection stuff. And that is just as filling as having a bunch of steak or chicken or something else on it would be. So Like I said, man, my secret to being a vegetarian is just eating like garbage anyway, and just eating the same type of stuff I would just without the meat. So, I say garbage. I love the food that I eat, but that doesn't mean that I don't eat too much of it. Listen, man, this is interviewing about me and how I feel and how I eat my feelings. All right, Marshon. No, it's, but no, man, that's cool. So, with all the healthcare activity, I mean, how does the prospect of healthcare politics play into decisions that you make, like in the short and long term? Like, is there still a demand for work that you're studying to do if we're, say, in a single healthcare payer system or a single payer healthcare system 15 or 20 years from now? I'd love for it to be 5, but I know that's not going to happen, so I'll deal with what I got to deal with. Like, I'm one of those people that's like terrified of the healthcare system because I don't know what it's going to cost me to go participate in the healthcare system. Like, it's a real concern for me.
Yeah. It's we got a long way to go.
Yeah.
And for us to be able to, make the changes that we need to make, it's all about looking at, okay, well, first off, everyone needs healthcare.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you turn, for myself, like when I turned 26, you're off your parents' healthcare. You gotta get your own. So when I was going to get my own healthcare, I'm like, okay, well, which healthcare should I get? What should I do? What should I, And so I made my decisions on how I should go about it. But when I started seeing those prices, they were like super expensive.
Yeah.
Based off the income that I made every year from being a GA. But I think it has to be, like, I feel like if we could put a lot of money towards like war and stuff, like let's put a little bit more focus on what's going on in the States, and let's put some focus on that. Like we need, healthcare that's reasonable, that'll still fit, everyone needs. But we're going through the changes right now. Yeah. Like it's been a battle, but we're going through the changes.
No, I think we're still gonna, I just, in the very least, for folks that are around our generations, being like, why are we not having better health care when we should? Like, why do we spend so much money on health care? Yeah. Like, when we're struggling in other spaces. Yeah. Or sorry, let me rewind and talk right like I'm trying to. That other countries can spend half as much on healthcare for similar or better outcomes, and we're in here just spending way too much money on it. Yeah. And like, I'm sure there's like some, there's plenty of components that are of value, like research and development, but then there's stuff that is not so much.
Yeah, and I think like we have the ability to make those changes. Yeah. We're not one of the greatest countries in the world just by mistake. Yeah. We have the resources. It's all about, okay, are we going to put our profits to the side and let's look at it from a holistic, let's look at it from a human to human standpoint. Yeah. Let's put the money to the side first, because I feel like it's all about money. Yeah. Like the prices are outrageous. We spend double, triple the amount, but we get less than half the results. That means something's wrong.
Do you learn about that like in school? Is that part of the discussion, or like what is the discussion like in the work that you're putting in? Yeah, in healthcare management.
Yeah, so like we discuss a wide variety of topics that happen in healthcare, current events, old events, but we want to focus on, okay, we know where we are right now, right? What services can we provide to people that's, one, in a way where they get everything that they need for economical price, and can they get to, that specific healthcare resource. So that's been one of the toughest, but technology has helped lower the cost, lower the access to it. So as we continue to expand our technology, like people are more able to, they're able to get to those those healthcare resources that they might need.
Nice. No, tech. Yeah, it's just the the ease of access. I did having been in a car wreck some months back. You're from Chicago. You appreciate getting rear-ended on the Dan Ryan Expressway in the middle of rush hour, doing 70 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. Anyway, the so the the ability to just like telehealth in after a couple visits and it just be easy enough to talk to a doctor and run it through that way. The physical therapy, having like, using ultrasound to like work out, muscles and issues in a joint and just, I mean, it's having zero comprehension of healthcare practices, policies, technology, whatever, like any little bit of interaction that I have with the healthcare system, it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
there's
And
just a lot going on.
Yeah, and like physical therapy, like if you have an accident and you have to go to physical therapy, do the exercises that they tell you to do and do them right.
Yeah.
Like that will help you get your mobility back or whatever it is that you're trying to work on. It's gonna make it better.
Have you had to go through that before?
Yeah, definitely. As an athlete, I twisted my ankle to like the 3rd degree.
Ooh.
Yeah, it hurt it. Like I was going up for a layup and a guy, he stepped on my foot off the foot I was pushing off of going into the air. So like his foot was on top of mine and I was jumping up, but he was holding me down. So my ankle like just like popped and I had a tennis ball on the side of my ankle less than like 30 seconds.
Oh.
Yeah. But I continued to play through the game though. And we won. So it was all worth it. But I was
like, how long did it take to recover from that?
ooh, like 4 weeks.
Dang.
Like 4 weeks. 4 weeks. And I didn't start playing basketball until probably like the 6th week. You gotta gradually I took my time with it because I knew if I wanted to finish out the season, I was gonna have to take my my physical therapy seriously.
Yeah. I mean, were you a multi-sport athlete, or were you just like basketball was kind of your thing? And
I played different sports,
okay.
but my passion was basketball.
Nice.
I know 8th grade, I played football for like 1 year. Wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
I was a good quarterback, but it wasn't. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna lead this to the guys who like playing football.
Yeah.
And then I hopped into basketball, and when I hopped into basketball, I wasn't the best.
Yeah.
Like I started in 6th grade playing basketball. I 6th through my senior year of high school was when that was my basketball career.
Yeah.
And so from like the age from grade 6 to 8th grade, like I was always playing with guys who were older than me.
Yeah.
And because I had to catch up. Like I didn't have anyone to like show me like, hey, this is how you play the game of basketball. And so I literally started at the end of the bench of my basketball career. And each year as I gotten older and went up in grade, like I became more confident. And then I went from the end of the bench to like to the 6th man. And I went from the 6th man to a starter. So like by the time I got into high school, I had already my character was, when it came to basketball, was fully developed.
Yeah.
When it came to leadership, fully developed. When it came to analyzing the game, during the game and analyzing other players, it was there.
Yeah.
I was hungry. And so when I got to the end of my senior year, I didn't have any scholarships, I didn't have any offers, anything like that. Which, I was sad about it, but then I brushed it off.
Yeah.
I was just like, you know what? I know that I can go into something else and do something more. So when I got to SIU, I was like, you know what? I got to find something different. And then that's when I came across business. I was like, I can go into business, apply the same principles, and see what I could do with it. And it actually worked out in my favor. So, like, a lot of my friends asked me, hey, you want to play basketball? Let's talk about basketball? Forget that, man. I'm on something else. Like, so, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's there's I'm not a sports guy, never have been. It's just not my thing. But so many people that participate in business are entrepreneurial in nature. Part of
Yeah.
that is like sport, a sport background and a sport interest.
Yeah.
The team play, the leadership, the analytics, like you were talking about. Do you
Yeah.
feel like in the first endeavor, like that some of the mindset of being in sport really translated into business for you? Like, did you feel the connection between the two as natural?
Yeah. It was a natural flow, easy. But see, I'm really good at adapting to wherever I'm at.
Yeah,
Like I know who I am as a person.
yeah,
So now when I go out and I'm in different areas, I'm like, okay, cool. This is the vibe here. This is how everything is done.
yeah.
Let me, go accordingly. And if I need to be innovative and change something, then I'll go ahead and do that. And I'll be able to meet the needs of the people that I'm trying to help, or make that change with. So yeah.
Is that part of Carbondale living too for you? Like, do you kind of like that part of just being able to, adapt to whatever room that you're in with whoever you're in it with at any point?
Yeah, yeah. But when I got down to Carbondale, it was just natural. It was like a natural, like it wasn't hard for me.
Yeah,
It wasn't hard. And I asked myself, like, man, how do you go from, what I'm saying? How do you go from a loud urban community in Chicago on the south side, and you come down to Carbondale where it's like day and night, it's total opposite.
yeah,
How do you handle that transition?
mm-hmm.
Because some people they get paranoid. They be like,
Yeah.
Yo, what is going on? It's too quiet out here.
Yeah,
But for me, I was like, thank God I could relax. I could
Yeah.
lean back, like So that's what I think. Don't get me wrong. I think like the first 2 weeks, I was like, is this really real? Like, is it really that calm out here? But it felt good though.
yeah,
It felt good. I was like, okay, I can go ahead and do what I need to do. I ain't gotta look over my shoulder. I don't have to worry about all the extra crap that be happening.
yeah.
So it was good.
Well, and it's we used to do. I don't remember if I was talking on a podcast about this or just talking to somebody in general about this, but I've talked to folks, and I can't remember what context that other podcast interviews have provided to this, but we used to have programs that worked really well with, like, if folks were coming into Carbondale from places that are louder than Carbondale, like
Yeah.
coming in from the south side of Chicago, and that we would have like programs that was like, hey, like, here's what to expect, and here's like what's going on in small town Carbondale, like here's
Yeah.
how to get adjusted to
Yeah.
this just pace of
Yeah.
living on campus and in a small town,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that is, for a lot of people, it's a change,
Yeah.
right? But like understanding that you've got to be able to help people accommodate when they move here from somewhere very different.
Yeah.
I still we need to regrow Carbondale. I think we need to be like reach out to folks that are displaced by climate change, right? But
Yeah.
for us as a community to help people like adapt to here, like we need to have a way to like welcome folks and like a way to introduce people to the community and what's going on and like the pace of living here and like why it may
Yeah.
be more quiet or more loud than what they're used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
In both directions.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And like I know a lot of people might say, well, what do you mean by loud? Right? So I come from
Like there's a little bit of bass kicking off in a car outside right now.
Right.
That's nothing. That is nothing. Like that's how loud it gets in Carbondale.
Yeah,
Like,
so I grew up in West Woodlawn community in Chicago. It's right next to Hyde Park and Bronzeville and Inglewood. And so in that neighborhood, it's a lot of gang violence, it's a lot of poverty, it's just a lot. It's like it's a crab in a barrel type of mentality.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not like that because people just want to be like that. It was created by design.
yeah.
So it's just like, just imagine you being in a place and this is all you know. You were never exposed to what goes on outside of your zip code.
Mm-hmm.
So you're more inclined to go with the flow.
Yeah.
You're more inclined to do, as Romans do as everybody else do.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are exposed to, hey, we're 15 minutes from downtown. Let me show you what's going on downtown real quick. You been on Michigan Avenue, the Magnificent Mile? Have you been to Navy Pier? Have you been to the, to the boats? You been on the yachts? Like, have you? Some people don't get that chance.
Yeah.
So when you're stuck in that type of environment, it's a lot of noise. It's loud. It's like you can't really see you can't even see any opportunities really. But luckily, you know what I'm saying, my mom, you know, my grandmother, my aunt, like they really guided me and saying, look, don't go left, go right.
Yeah.
You see that? If you want to be like that, if you want to end up jail, you want to end up in, dead, if you want to be two-bit hustler, go ahead. You do that. But this is where you're going to end up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do I want to go down that route or do I want to go this way? Go to the right. Where I can go ahead, get a good education. You know what I'm saying? You know, do the right. Get a good education, get a job, get a home, get a family, do that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. You want to travel? You can do that. And so I had a chance to travel, which actually opened up my mind even more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was able to travel through basketball. Like, we did our family trips every now and again. But once I got to, like, we did family trips, like, when I was, like, maybe, like, 4th grade to, like, 5th grade, maybe. But when I got to 8th grade, well, when I was going into high school, I'm sorry, I got recruited to go to Europe to play basketball. I was going to be out there for 2 weeks or whatever. It was with an organization called People to People Organization. And it was created by Dwight D. Eisenhower. And it was for kids to be able to get out of wherever they're from and intermingle internationally with different kids from different races and different nationalities and stuff. So it was awesome. And that really opened my mind up. And I said, man, this world is way bigger than where I'm, from.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going to chase that. That's what I'm going to chase. I'm going to be able to chase to do what I want to, whenever I want to, and live a nice life the best way I can.
Do you get some of the fulfillment of interacting with folks from all walks of life, like just by being in town, right? Like, I always pitch this place to people like, hey, we're a legitimate international community in a small rural town. Like, that's by virtue of what exists here with the university. And now with more industry developing, in the area that can draw international attention. But is that something that you've been able to, like, latch on and derive value from in Carbondale?
Yeah, definitely. When they say it's diverse, it is diverse. It's different cultures and nationalities here. You just have to be open enough to seek it.
Yeah.
Because some people might say, I'm going to stick to my niche group, and I'm not going to expand out of this. But I have friends from here to California, from Carbondale to Chicago, from Carbondale to Asia, from Carbondale to Saudi Arabia. Like, and I met a lot of those people here.
Yeah.
So it's all about, do you want to expand and actually be open enough and be understanding to see where people are coming from?
Yeah.
I was open. And it's very beneficial. Like, about 2 weeks ago, I went to a friend of mine's house, and he's doing a project for the guy who made Dippin' Dots?
Yeah, Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt. So he's doing some more innovative stuff. And so my friend is doing a project with Kurt, and he had me come over and try some different products. And after we tried the products, my international friend, he had some more of his friends there. And then they ended up like making like this big old dinner, and we all sat in a big circle. It was like something that was, it was just a different feeling.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, like back home, I sit with my family, we eat at the table. We had our own type of culture and way of doing things.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with someone that's not from here, that could be from India or Saudi Arabia, like, they do things way differently.
Yeah.
The conversations are different. Like, it was a great experience, to be able to sit down and break bread with someone that I never knew, you know what I'm saying? And it was just genuine love.
I'm trying to think of the guy. Oh man, that, like, I forgot all about this guy. I can't remember if it was Twitter or Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, what this dude would post, but like, he used to work for Kurt at Dippin' Dots. This has been probably maybe like 2 years now. I just maybe it was Snapchat. I feel like it was Snapchat. It was when Snapchat was like still useful for folks.
Yeah.
But like, it was just this, this dude living a cool life in Carbondale. Part of that was him working, working for Kurt at Dippin' Dots. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, so do you I mean, just being in the SBDC, I mean, do you just feel like you're getting the exposure to stuff that you otherwise wouldn't get access to as well, just by like being in the building and being around folks and being able to like rub elbows with people?
Yep. And I hope that somewhere in the future, soon, that the SBDC and the university, I hope they work more together. Like, we have some good entrepreneurs that's been here over the past few years.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they were able to work with the university or not in a big, like, in a big capacity type of way. Like, they let you do like small little events here and there, but I'm talking about doing big boy deals.
Yeah.
Because we have vendors that SAU does business with.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some of those deals, big boy deals.
Yeah.
So the SBDC here, the resources are endless. Like, if you have an idea, they will support you, but you got to put the work in.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be like, all right, let me hold your hand and let's do. Like, they're not gonna do that. Because there are other entrepreneurs that's taking this very seriously, and they're bringing a lot to the table. So if you got a business, you got a business idea, go to the SBDC. They'll help you out. Talk to Deborah. She cold. She good. Tell me.
No, I've hit. Maybe this will be a good way to convince her on. I hit her and Greg up. I mean, it was just an email. I haven't followed up or anything.
Oh yeah, Greg
trying
too.
To get
my bad.
Do what?
Greg too. My bad. Greg he's cool. He's cool.
Yeah, no. I mean, dude, it's why. I mean, it used to be. I don't remember what it looked like when I had my first encounter with the SBDC. It would have been like 2011. So it's been about 10 years now.
Yeah.
Whew, I feel older every time I have a conversation. Gotta stop this. Anyway, so but did something that was sponsored by the Delta Regional Authority and administered through the SBDC that was like a week long like business boot camp deal, and there were maybe like 6 or 7 advisors at the SBDC.
Yeah.
At that point, it was just a mass of activity. It's good to know that the spaces in the building are still filled. Like, there's still activity, going on in the space. It's a bummer to not have as many.
Yeah, it's growing exponentially.
Yeah.
And like, if I'm able to expand this more and more, like I want Carbondale to be my main hub. Yeah. It's gonna be my headquarters. But there are limited space there. Like, the space that I need, someone is already using.
Yeah.
So they have other space there for me, but before I can like actually use it, I have to have that inventory. Like, I have to put it somewhere. Yeah. So, but like, they're growing very fast. Yeah. Very fast.
No, good. Then I'm glad like, things are going the direction that they need to, and that the value that the SBDC has always been able to provide can still emanate. I mean, it's been around. So I think like 97, 98, something like that is when it first opened. But again, I'd have to ask somebody that knows any better. But it's like, I don't know this town without that infrastructure in place. Like, it's a very important, very valuable space that is sometimes overlooked by folks, but I think has had it's just had a hand in a lot of really, really good activity over the years.
Yeah, like I used to walk there a lot on foot. But like my sophomore, my junior, I walked there a lot from the dorms. Nice. Yeah, it was a long walk, man. Yeah, long walk. But they definitely, man, like I'm just going back and like in my head, like so many times where like I needed help and they were there. Yeah. Like they're always there. Like they'll never like leave you hanging out to dry. Yeah. Like they're there and they're going to do their best to help. And if they cannot they feel like they can't help you, they'll find someone who can.
Yeah. Well, that was always the nice part is like, just for that space to be able to act as a network to connect folks
Yeah.
so well.
Yeah.
Shucks, I think, does Jake, I can't remember if I asked Nelson about this yesterday on the podcast or not, but is Jake, because do you know Jake Coddington at all? Have you guys crossed paths in the SBDC?
No.
Okay, all right. I just think Jake was still doing some sort of business advising activity, but that's neither here nor there. Just drawing more connections. But no, that's legit, man. That's legit. This is cool. I appreciate you like taking the time and like, sharing the whole story, because you got a lot going on, man.
Yeah.
This is, this is cool. You were just like, hey, I didn't even look up and get into what you had going on business wise, and you've got a lot of irons and a lot of fires, man. And it seems like it's all kind of coming together like you want it to. So
yeah.
I hope it stays on track for you, man.
Oh yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it for sure.
Absolutely. And that is episode 52 of the WTF Carbondale podcast, where we talk to interesting people about their interesting lives and tie it all back together to this little old place we call home, Carbondale, Illinois. Marshon Tucker was this episode. A lot of entrepreneurial spirit in the room right now, and I'm ever so appreciative of that. It's just nice to be around and nice to be able to take in. So, as I always say, folks, have a good one, whatever that one may be.